to our own. The curlew remembers. He has seen this man before, on other mornings. He cannot judge whether it was yesterday or a year ago, for he has no such concepts. But he does not fly away, did not waste the precious resources of his energy, and he is still here, still in existence. It is a complex but vital calculation, one his instincts must make 100 times a day. He crouches a little more and watches. The man has called to the dog, and now it trots by his side, looking up at him every few paces. He, the man, is aware of the bird out on the marsh, but he doesn't look at it directly, because that will make it fly. From the corner of his eye he watches it. The coastal path will take him to within 50 yards of where the curlew waits, as if it is a painted thing, a decoy, and 50 yards would be within range of the heavy-bore shotguns the old wildfowlers used when they hunted such birds for the London markets. Imperceptibly the bird turns its head, keeping one eye fixed on the man and the dog as they pass by. They grow smaller again. The dog runs ahead once more, leaping into another creek. When they are almost out of sight, the curlew ruffles its feathers and begins to probe the thick, sweet-smelling ooze for another worm. The man walked briskly along the top of the bank until the village of Marston was in sight. Soon after that he reached a point where there were 2 sets of steps. One set went down to his right to a newly repaired wooden landing stage, where a small sailing dinghy called Rebecca Louise was moored, and the other steps ran down the bank to his left, where a cottage sat snugly in the morning sunshine and out of the prevailing southwesterlies of autumn and winter. He stopped, as he did briefly almost every day, and admired it all. Idyllic, of course, as every visitor felt obliged to say, but in a January gale it was a different story. Not that he could now imagine ever leaving the place. An unsurfaced track called the Drift led from it towards the village, and being at the end of this track had resulted a long time ago in some no-nonsense early occupant of the cottage naming it Drift's End. Going down towards it, he noticed the car was missing and checked his watch. As far as he knew, the woman who lived here with him was working from home today, and so he was a little puzzled. He took the dog round to the side of the house, feeling in his pockets for a mobile phone in case there was a message. But it wasn't there. He could not be certain about where he had left it. This was not unusual, and he didn't let it bother him. The dog, Layla, was waiting patiently by the outdoor tap. He was certain this was the smartest animal he had ever encountered, and it was only a matter of time before he managed to convince his partner of this too. The water in the coiled hose-pipe was still warm from yesterday's afternoon sunshine, and he wasted no time in washing the worst of the salt marsh smell out of her thick coat. "It's either this or being tied up outside until you're dry," he said to the dog when he caught sight of her reproachful eyes. He had to admit the aroma could be a little overpowering at the breakfast table. There was a garden bench up against the wall beside the tap, and on it lay an old bath towel. He used this to rub down the dog, and she made no attempt to avoid his attentions, knowing full well this was the quickest way to a bowl full of food. When that job was done, he hung the towel back on the bench. The sun would reach this corner in a very few minutes. It was warm enough to eat outside, so he positioned the little iron bistro table and its 2 chairs where they would be in the sun and offer the best view of the garden behind the cottage, and then he went inside, followed by the dog. Slices of bread had already been cut for toast, and they were still moist and fresh. She could have left only minutes before he returned. On the marble work surface next to the breadboard he found the reason for her disappearance. The plastic bottle contained only an inch of milk. Force of habit led him to